Today we're making this delicious butterscotch crunch cake. First, we work on the brown sugar cake layers. To do this, we whisk together our dry ingredients, and once they're combined, we add in a half a cup of unsalted butter. We mix this on low until it's fully incorporated, and then in a separate large bowl, we mix together all of our wet ingredients. Then we slowly pour the wet ingredients into the dry and mix on a low speed until fully combined. At this point, I like to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl just to make sure that everything is properly mixed together. Then the batter is divided evenly between the prepared pans and baked in a preheated 350-degree oven for 32 to 35 minutes. Next, we make the butterscotch sauce. Melt the butter in a medium-sized heavy bottom saucepan over medium heat. Then add 1 cup of packed Domino dark brown sugar, 1 cup of heavy cream, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Stir the mixture until combined, and then let it come to a boil. Stir the mixture occasionally and let it boil for 4 to 5 minutes. Then remove it from heat and mix in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. The sauce will be thin at this point, but it will thicken as it cools. Pour the butterscotch into a separate container and then set in the fridge until it reaches room temperature. And while that cools, we work on the brown sugar toffee bits. After lining a metal baking sheet with a silicone mat, we set that aside and then melt down half a cup of unsalted butter. To this, we add 1 cup of packed Domino light brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of fine salt. Whisk this together vigorously until combined, and then continue to stir it as the mixture cooks. Continue to do this for about 7 minutes or until the mixture reaches 295 degrees Fahrenheit. Then pour it onto the prepared mat and set it aside to cool. It should firm up like this, and then after placing it in a sealable bag, you can use a heavy object to break it into tiny little bits. And then the final component is the butterscotch frosting. We mix together 8 egg whites and 2.5 cups of Domino granulated sugar, then place this over a bowl of simmering water until it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit. We pour this into a separate bowl and beat the mixture for about 10 minutes until we get stiff glossy peaks just like this. Then we mix in 2 cups of unsalted butter, 1 stick at a time. At this point, the frosting should look nice and thick and have kind of a whipped-like consistency. Then we swap out the whisk attachment for the paddle attachment and add in half a cup of butterscotch sauce, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and a half a teaspoon of fine salt. And then it's time for the best part, assembling the cake. Stack and frost the brown sugar cake layers on a grease-proof cake board or flat plate. On top of each cake layer, spread a thick layer of butterscotch frosting and top that with a generous drizzle of butterscotch sauce, along with some toffee bits and toasted pecans. Repeat this with the remaining cake layers and then chill the cake in the freezer for about 10 minutes to help all the filling stay in place. Then spread a thick coat of frosting around the cake using the remaining buttercream. I like to use a large offset spatula to create a textured look around the cake and then sprinkle some of the toffee bits and toasted pecans in a ring around the top of the cake. And the last step is to cut a nice big slice and enjoy.